Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's DAF. Bava Metzia DAF Lamed Zayin. We are holding on Lamed Vav Amud Beis, 3 lines off the bottom. Rabbi Yossi, Keitzad Hala, he says, Chayra beparasa shel chaverei. According to Rabbi Yossi, one is not meant to be earning any money off his friend's distress. So basically we have a story of a fellow who rented the rights to use a cow, then he loaned it to somebody else who now became responsible for the loss of the item. He will pay the renter, and the renter will just walk away, from the owner, free of charge. And Rabbi Yossi argues. He says, it can't be. You can't be making money off the other person's distress. Amar Vidamar Shmuel, that's the opinion that we adopt. Halacha Rabbi Yossi, that in fact the shayel will pay the owner, not the renter. Amali Rav Shmuel. So this is Rabbi Yehuda quoting Shmuel. Okay, Amali Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda, the Rabbi Yehuda. So now Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda, who perhaps was Rabbi Yehuda's son, asked Rabbi Yehuda the following question. You recall that you once mentioned to us Amrislan Mishmei de Shmuel. You gave us another quote from Shmuel that Chaluk Hay Rabbi Yossi Aparishain, that not only in this case with the renter and the borrower does Rabbi Yossi maintain that one is not meant to be profiting off the other person's loss, but in fact Rabbi Yossi disagrees with the entire Mishnah, with the whole halacha we learned back in the beginning of the parak. Remember that a shemer chinam opted to pay for the stolen item, and it turns out that we discovered we tracked down the thief, who will have to pay double. Who gets that extra payment? The shemer chinam. Right. So basically, he's profiting off the other person's loss. Right. And there as well, Rabbi Yossi says you can't be making money off that incident. It's not your item. So if the ganav gets caught, we obligate him to pay kefil to the owner, to the original owner, not to the shemer chinam. So Rabbi Yossi maintains, right, just like in this most recent case, the seicher can't be profiting. Likewise, the shemer chinam shouldn't be profiting, even though he was such a nice fellow and so nice and cooperative. He offered to pay instead of swearing, right? So once we know there's a machlekes, we want to know halacha k'maisay, ein halacha k'maisay. In case number 2 with the seich and the shayel, you just quoted Shmuel, we pass along Rabbi Yossi. What about in that first case? Amarle, so he says, actually you're right. In that first case as well, Rabbi Yossi disagrees, right? He holds, the shemer chinam is not meant to profit. Halacha k'maisay, and in fact, that's the opinion that we adopt. It's Marnami. We learned likewise. Rabbi Yossi disagreed with the first Mishnah as well. Rabbi Yechon Amar. Rabbi Yechon disagrees with Shmuel. In that first case, Rabbi Yossi agrees that the shemer chinam will earn the right to access the kefil. You know why shekvar shilam? Because he paid for it. It was a bona fide business transaction, right? That was the agreement between the owner and the shayah and the shemer. You pay for it, and you get the kefil. So it's very different than our most recent case where the fellow sort of went behind the owner's back and loaned it, and then he gets profit based. No, it's a whole different story here. The owner was more than willing to offer this extra perk to the shemer chinam, who opted to pay instead of swearing. That's a legitimate business deal. Okay, so in this case, Rabbi Yossi would go along with the halacha, as stated in our Mishnah. Now we have just one more point here, because Rabbi Yochanan is the one who we just quoted, and he said the reason why it's different is because he paid. Shilaim in, apparently, payment is required to grant the shemer access to that extra perk. Lo shilam loy, but otherwise, if he hadn't yet paid, it wouldn't work. Even though he offered to pay. Hold it. We have a direct quote From Rabbi Yehuda himself that actual payment is not necessary. Even simply offering to pay. Putting the owner at ease. Look, I'm about to pay, don't worry. That's enough to give him the access to kefil. Lo yishilim, when the Mishnah says paid, it doesn't mean shili imam is actually paid. Once he declared his willingness to pay, that's enough. Even though he didn't actually pay. So why now does Rabbi Yehuda say there it's different because he paid? Paid? Who says he paid? Elo says the Gemara, rather we'll just revise. All Rabbi Yehuda was pointing out is that it's very different in that first case. Rabbi Yehuda agrees that the shomer deserves the rights to the kefil shekvar omar and mishal, because either he paid or at least he was about to pay. He offered to pay. That's enough. So bottom line, you have two cases. Mishnah number one was a shomer chinam who claimed the item was stolen. He opted to pay right away. Mishnah says he gets the kefil if in fact we track down the ganav. Mishnah number two, a fellow rented an animal and then lent it to somebody who lost the animal. The seicher just swears to the owner and walks away free of charge, whereas the shayel pays the seicher for the animal. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. You can't profit off the other person's loss. And that's how we paskin. What about in the first Mishnah? According to Shmuel, Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, and that's how we paskin. According to Rabbi Yehuda, all agree. It's a legitimate business deal. The Shemechinam gets the kefil. Says the Mishnah, Amar Lishnayim. Reuven approaches two friends. I don't know if they're friends, but he says, you know what? One of you two fellows was my victim. I stole from one of you two. How much? A mana. But I'm not sure who I stole from. It was dark at night. I'm not sure who it was. I'm not sure who my victim was. So basically, I owe one of you a mana. I'm not sure who. Another example. One of your fathers deposited by me a mana. I'm not sure who the man was. I'm not sure if it was your father or yours. The only way to really address this situation is by paying out double. He pays a mana to each of them. Well, you know why? Because he's trying to address his obligations. It's a self-initiated procedure. Shahida mipiatzmai. It's self-initiated. Look, if you want to come clean, cover all the bases, right? Now, but if it's shnaim shefkid etzel echad, Reuven and Shimon both placed a deposit in Levi's care. Different amounts. Zemanam zemasayim. He placed 100, he placed 200. Comes payday, each one claims the 200. Ze'omer masayim shali. V'ze'omer. Ze'omer shali masayim. V'ze'omer shali masayim. Okay, now he's stuck. Not sure who's who. What do? Noisin lezemana. So he gives 100 to Reuven. Uzemana 100 to Shimon. V'ashar and the rest, the other 100, put on the side until the Yel Navi comes and clarifies and verifies the owner. Amar Rabbi Yossi, that's not really going to solve the problem. And Cain, if you're going to respond this way, Mahib said the Rabbi, how are you going to be putting pressure on the crook? He has no reason to admit. If in any case he gets back his 100. Ella, rather, the most effective means of solving this situation is don't give them back a penny. None of them. The full amount. Wait till the governor comes, and perhaps between now and then, the crook will come around and say, "Look, you know what? I'm going to lose everything, so I may as well just take my 100 and go home." That's one example. Another similar case is you have two kelim. Echad yafa mana, one worth 100. V'echad yafa elav zuz, one worth 1,000. Deposited by two different people. And Levi, the fellow who took the deposit, not sure, he doesn't remember. Was Reuven the one with the more expensive kli? Was Shimon, right? And comes time to return the item. Each one claims the more expensive item. Ze'omer yavashali. Both Reuven and Shimon claim the $1,000 item. So the same idea, noisin esakot le'echad mehem. So he takes the smaller one, gives it to Ruvain. U'b'teicha gadol noisin d'mei akot l'sheni. He takes the more expensive item and breaks it apart, takes a piece, and gives it to Shimon, and the rest you put aside. V'ashar yemunach ad shivalio. So each one got 100, and the rest is in limbo. Once again, Rabbi Yossi responds, it's not a way to go. On Rabbi Yossi came I've said the Ramai el hakoil. Rather, the entire shipment, the entire package waits for Eliyahu Navi yemunach shivalio. Let's go back to the first case of the Mishnah. I approached two people. I robbed one of yous, not sure who. I pay both. Alma misfeikim afkinim amoina. Apparently, even when it's a case of uncertainty, I'm not sure, right? We extract money. We require you to pay. We don't say ukim amoina b'cheskas mari. We leave the money where it was, by its former owner. Has a cheskas mum. We don't say that. You don't know, you pay. Really? V'ramini. We have a kasha from our Mishnah itself. Let's move on to the next part of the Mishnah. Right? Shnayim shivkidu tzlechad. Two people deposited with this fellow. Zeh manav zeh masayim. He deposited 100. He deposited 200. Comes time to pick up the money. Each one claims the 200. Zeh omer shali masayim. Zeh omer shali masayim. What does he do? He doesn't have to pay 200 per person. No. All he does is 100 to each. And the rest is in limbo. Apparently, we don't obligate him to double pay. In contrast to the first case of the Mishnah, with the robber, he has to pay double. Why? Why the difference? The more answers, how could you ask from a pikadon, which is just a benign case, to a case where a person robbed? I mean, it's a totally different case. Gezel Davidi Surah. In the case of the robbery, he did an Isser. We can very well understand that Rabbanan penalized him. Kansur Rabbanan. Until you come clean, you have to just keep on paying. As opposed to a fellow, innocent fellow, a kind-hearted person who undertook to guard somebody else's money. Pikadid Davidi Surah, he didn't do anything wrong. So why should he pay more? Like Kansur Rabbanan. Okay, so at this point, it seems like a plausible answer, but the Gemara is going to ask on that now. So you say when it comes to Pikadon, he did not pay extra. But we have a stira. V'rami Pikadon Pikadon. V'rami Gezla Gezla. We're going to have a stira within the halacha of Pikadon, and also within the halacha of a Gezla. Number one, Pikadon Pikadon. We have a stira within Pikadon. Within our Mishnah itself, we have Mishnah cites two cases of Pikadon with varying results. Tani Reisha, in the first case we have, a fellow approached two of his friends and he says, look, one of you guys' father deposited something with me, right? He didn't rob from him, he took a deposit. I'm not sure who it was. What does the Mishnah say? In order to come clean, you have to cover all bases. You have to pay both. But now comes a kasha from the next part, this very Mishnah. We don't have to pay more than just the minimal amount. So why this difference? Amar Rava, look, a Reisha. In the first case of the Mishnah, where ultimately it was only one depositor. I'm not sure who he was, right? So I should be paying attention. I should take note of who it is. I shouldn't be walking around with uncertainties as to who gave me money, right? So I'm at fault for not paying attention. So of course, I'm fully responsible until I satisfy all my potential, claimants, right? Reisha, Nasa, you know what it's comparable to? It's an irresponsible situation. It's like imagine if two people, right, come at the same time and deposit money with me, but in separate envelopes, in a discrete fashion, so that each one doesn't know how much the other one put in and doesn't even know, to claim the other one's amount, right? So in this case, it's clear that they're not really trusting each other, right? So I'm supposed to be paying attention as well to ensure that I remember who gave me what. Otherwise, it can run into all kinds of denials and crookedness, right? You should be paying attention. So let's just use it as a metaphor. It's a mashal. So certainly in the ratio where it's just a question of one person, your father gave me this money. I should be paying attention. There's no excuse for this type of ambiguity and lack of accountability, right? But seifa, as opposed to the next case of the Mishnah, where both individuals came to him at once and gave him the money. Right? It was done in the open. They weren't trying to hide from each other. It's as though we're comparing it to, let's say two people put their money in one bag and gave it to me. I don't have to be counting their money. Obviously you guys are trusting each other. So yeah, you gave it to me, you'll pick it up later. I don't have to be counting and paying attention and taking note and keeping records of who gave me what. And likewise, in this case of the Mishnah, they both came at the same time, in clear view of each other, exposing their personal details, so to speak, their personal information, in terms of how much they deposited, and leaving it open for the other person to claim that money. So here, evidently, you people trust each other. I don't have to be more conscientious than you, right? So he doesn't have to pay that special attention to detail. We're speaking that they both came to deposit their money at the same time. So now the fellow can say, look, clearly you two are not really, makbid on each other. You're not suspecting each other of any wrongdoing. So therefore, I'm not paying attention either. I should pay more attention than you. Okay, so that resolves the apparent contradiction between pikad and non-pikad. Again, in the ratio we have a case where he's not sure who deposited the money, your father or your father. He has to pay them both because you should be paying attention. You have no excuse not to. Whereas in the seifa, they both came together. I'll leave it up to you people. You want to pick it up, you want to deposit, you want to pick it up later. I'm not keeping records of who's what and who's who. So in this case, I'm not chayiv. More than just to give back this money. But now comes another contradiction. V'rami gezel gezel. Within gezel, we have a contradiction as well. Two cases with different results. In our Mishnah, we begin with a case where he approaches two individuals. Look, I victimized one of you. I took 100 from one of you. I'm not sure who it was. Right? Right? Or one of your fathers did it. I'm not sure who deposited the money by me. What does the Mishnah say? Let's focus on the gezel part. He has to pay twice to address both potential victims. Here comes a kasha from a similar case. Uncertainty as to the identity of the victim, and Reb Tarfon there says one payment is sufficient. He stole from one of 5 people. He's not sure who it was. Gazal. And each one claims to be the victim. He says he's the victim. The other one says, no, you stole from me. What do? I know I only stole once. Tarfon says, look, put the money on the table and walk away. No, what does that tell us? Apparently, when it's a case of suffix, you don't obligate him to pay extra. We say you have a chazaka. The presumption is it's your money, right? I don't have to pay more than I have to pay. We leave the money by its owner. We don't obligate him to pay more than he has to. And in our Mishnah, we obligate him to pay double to address all possibilities. Why? Why this difference? Now, how do we know to say that our Mishnah by us and Bava Metzia is Rabbi Tarfon speaking, which would allow us to compare the halachas and pit one Mishnah against the other? The answer is because in that Mishnah over there with the 5 people, we have a brisa which explains. Rabbi Tarfon would agree. When he approaches 2 people, the same as now Mishnah, and he initiates the whole process. I stole from one of you. I'm not sure who it was. Even Rabbi Tarfon would agree in that case. He has to pay each one separately. Okay? So, it sounds eerily similar to our Mishnah. Apparently the halacha in our Mishnah reflects Rabbi Tarfon's opinion as well. And Rabbi Tarfon himself, in the other case of the 5 people, says one payment is enough. And over here, many payments are required. Answer is like this. In the case of the 5, they came to claim. Right? As the Mishnah says. Each one claimed to be the victim. So there, look, we can't obligate him to pay more than once. put it on the table and walk away. But in Bava Metzia, he's trying to be a good boy. He's trying to address his spiritual obligations. And unless he actually addresses it in full, he hasn't really addressed it properly. True, they can't. In a court of law, they can't obligate him to pay more than just, base minimum. But if he's trying to be Yoitzi de Shamayim, the only way to do that is to cover all possibilities and pay them separately. They cannot be diktani, because look at our Mishnah. The wording of our Mishnah indicates, as such, that he's motivated by altruistic motives. Shahidim piatzmai. That explains the halacha, because he's coming on his own. Shema mina. Clearly, that's the reason. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to. Amar mar. Okay, let's go back and review the halacha of the Gazel Echad Michamisha, which is speaking where they're dragging him to the Bezdin. They're initiating the process. Hasam the Katavilei, they're claiming from him. The question is, how is he responding? Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav. So Rabbi Yehuda quotes Rav that he was just silent. Halash shaisik. He's pleading the fifth. He's not responding. Rav Masna Amar Rav. Rav Masna quotes Rav. No, halot sevech. It must be that the guy is yelling and screaming. He's denying to each one of his claimants. No, it wasn't you, it wasn't you, it wasn't you. Now, Madam halot sevech, the opinion that says, that was speaking that he's vocally denying, but otherwise, if he would be remaining silent, that would be tantamount to an admission. And of course, he would have to pay each one separately. Whereas the other opinion holds that it works even though he's silent. You know why? Shtika dahacha. This type of silence, over here in this case, does not indicate admission. Lav kaida, who? You know why? It's very different than a typical shtika kaida. Typically, you're quiet, you're admitting. Here, no. Matzi Amalei, because he can explain himself. He can interpret his silence like this. You know why I was silent in response to all these people and all these claims? Because I wasn't sure. I knew I stole from somebody. I can't remember who it was. Therefore, I'm just, keeping my mouth closed. It doesn't mean that I'm admitting to you. Okay, Amar. So what is the halacha of Rabbi Tarfon? Maniach gzela b'neim mistalek. Put the money down and walk away. So he's putting one amount for all 5 people. We assume all 5 will distribute it. We'll divide it, right? So you mean they'll all take the money, split it, and walk away? In which case the real victim will never really get fully compensated. He'll get a fifth of what he deserves. That's not right. We have a halacha over here in Hashem Saveda, the name of Rab, called Savik Hinuach, right? We have an item which perhaps was placed there intentionally by the owner. It wasn't lost, it was placed there for time being. Leave it alone. You shouldn't be touching it. Rashi says, doesn't have a simon. Doesn't have an identifying mark, so don't meddle with it. You're making it worse. If you really picked it up, then you're responsible. You can't put it back. You can't give it back to anybody because it doesn't have a simon. You got to leave it till you're stuck. So bottom line, when there is an uncertainty as to who the owner of the item is, or in our case, who's the victim, who's the money going to, we can't just, abandon it. We can't just let them just take it. You have to hold on to it until you verify the owner, until you confirm who the victim is. Amar Rav Safra, you're right, v'aniach. Rav Tarfon, all he meant was take the amount and leave it by the bezdin. Put it in the trust of court. You can walk away. You're exonerated. You did your part. But of course, bezdin will hold on to it until they confirm the owner. Amalei Abai LeRav. Let's go back to that story. 5 people claim to have been his robbery victims. So actually, we already had Rabbi Tarfon's shita. You need not pay more than once. And we just explained, you put it into the bezdin and you move on. Rabbi Kiva disagrees. Rabbi Kiva says, look, that's not a solution. You haven't really addressed your obligations. You have to pay each one separately. Amalei Abai LeRav. Mi Amar Rabbi Kiva. Is that true that Rabbi Kiva said, Lo yizu haderech moitzi asim dever? This is not a way to satisfy, to solve an avera, to counteract an avera. You stole, you have to go all out until you're 100% sure that you compensated your victim. You have to repay every single person. alma misfeka mafkidu amayna. So clearly, even in the case of Suffolk, we obligate payment. We don't say, we disregard the chazaka that you have, it's your money. No. We don't say, ukim mamayna b'chazkas mari, we leave the money where it was. Here comes a kasha. Apparently, according to Rabbi Kiva, we follow chazaka of mamayin. Naval abayis olav alimay. So the house collapsed on him and his mother. Question is, who died first? So we have two families pitted against each other. The mother's family is claiming, look, the child died first, so his assets reverted to the mother, who was the Yerush, and now she died, and it goes to us. The kid's family, from his father's side, is claiming it's the opposite. Mother died first, her assets then were transferred to the kid, who then died, now with the Yerushim. Nafal Abai is Olav Alimai, right? Yerushah ben Imrim. The kid's family are saying, look, Ha'em Eser Rishon, first the mother died. V'Yerushah Ha'em Imrim, the mother's family are claiming, no, Haben Mes Rishon, the child died first. What do we do with the assets? Elu ve'elu ma'odim, both B'Shamay B'Sil agree, She'achleiku, we split it down the middle. V'Amar Rakiva says no. Moidani Bezu, I agree in this case, Shanachasim Chaskasim, leave the money and the assets where they were. Apparently, we do adopt Cheskas Mammon. We leave the money, we leave the assets in possession of the one who was holding on to it till now. We can't just extract money without proof. So why do we obligate this fellow to pay all 5 robbery victims rather than just obligating one payment? What happened to Cheskas Mammon? Omar Lisi responded, Hasam Shema v'Shema. Oh, that's a big difference. There, in the case of the Yerusha, no family is certain. Each one is presenting a theory. So you just leave things, put. But Gazel Echad Mechamisha, in that case, it's Bari v'Shema. He doesn't know, and they are claiming an absolute certain claim. Each fellow is saying, look, you robbed me. So there it's different. So there, the only way to address it is to pay each one separately. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean? But what about our Mishnah? Bava Metzia, our Mishnah, which speaks about a similar case. A fellow approached 2 people. I stole from one of you. So here it's the Shema v'Shemahu. There's nobody certain on each side. On either side, there's no bari. No positive claim here. He doesn't know, they don't know. And what does the Mishnah say? You have to pay over and over again. Uktani, Noisin lezeman. You have to pay Reuven in full, Shimon in full. Says the Gemara, remind them of the Rabbi Kiva. Who's to say that our Mishnah reflects the Rabbi Kiva's Shita? The answer is like this: the Tani Allah, because in that discussion with the 5 people over there with the Machlekes, right, Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Kiva, we have a brayse. Moed Rabbi Tarfon, right? We quoted this brayse before. Rabbi Tarfon would agree to Rabbi Kiva. A fellow approaches by his own initiative. He approaches 2 people. I robbed one of you. Not sure who. You got to pay both. Now, who's Rabbi Tarfon conceding to when he says this? Laman Moide, Lav, Rabbi Kiva Plukte. Apparently, to Rabbi Kiva, who is his opponent, so to speak. In the case of Echad Mechamisha, one robbed from 5, one of 5, and they're coming, running through the grinder, and they're coming, right? So there, Rabbi Machlekes, pay once, pay 5, but all agree if he is approaching the potential victim and he is offering, even Rabbi Tarfon agrees to Rabbi Kiva here, multiple payments are in place. So clearly, our halacha and our Mishnah is Rabbi Kiva's Shita as well. So one second, who says our Mishnah is discussing a case where both sides, both litigants are uncertain? Well, very simple. Chada, first of all, like Tani Tayvin Oisai. In contrast to the case of the 5 people, where the Mishnah said that they all came to claim, here, now Mishnah, there's no mention of anybody claiming from him. V'oid, additionally, Hatani Rebchia had a brayse which explained this Mishnah. Za'im any idea? V'za'im any idea? Both parties, all 3 parties, are not sure. So clearly it's Shema v'Shema, so why is he paying over and over again? Oh, says the Gemara, 1 second, remember we already addressed our Mishnah. It's a unique case. He's trying to go the extra mile. He's trying to put it behind him. On all fronts. Ho'okimna, we have already explained. Law. He's trying to address all of his obligations, spiritual, financial. So here he has to pay over and over again to address all possibilities. Okay, so in summary, when it's a question of Bo Lotzi de Shemayim, you have to pay in full. But otherwise, let's say he's being dragged to the Bezdin. So there, when there's a suffix, so if it's Shema v'Shema, then he doesn't have to pay, more than the minimal amount. You say Chazaka, right? He has a Chazaka. He is the holder of the money. We can't obligate him more. But when it's Bari, there's a definitive, positive claim against him. Right? Each one's claiming that he's the victim. So there we have a machlokes. Rabbi Kiva says, pay each one separately. Rabbi Tarfon says, no, place the money in Bezdin's care and you're done. Continues the Gemara. Let's go back to another point that Rava mentioned earlier. When it comes to a pikadon. Now we discussed Gezel, let's go back to pikadon. Umi Amar Rava, Kol B'shtei Krichos. Did Rava tell us that when you have two bundles, so to speak, when, let's say you have two people, each one with his own deposit and doing it privately, discreetly, not in each other's presence, or is bundled up in a way that the other one doesn't see how much, right? So clearly, they're indicating that they're trying to be discreet and secure and safe in the way they're conducting their business. So in this case, the fellow receiving the deposit has to pay attention, has to keep note of who gave what. Is that true? Otherwise, it's deemed negligence. Rav himself tells us, some say it was Rav Papa, all would agree in the following case. Regarding a shepherd, you have two animal owners depositing their animals with the shepherd. Now, it so happens that one deposited one goat, the other one two goats. Come a day later, each one's claiming both goats. He only has three. Doesn't have enough, two per person. All agree in this case, the shepherd is not obligated. He puts the three there and he walks away. Why? Rashi explains, it's like the case of the two bundles, meaning you clearly notice, right? You're meant to notice. Animals are out in the open, right? They're not hidden in bags or in envelopes. You see, he gave you one, he gave you two. What kind of business is this not remembering, not recalling, not keeping records? So why does he get away with just, Armalis, he says like this. You're right. There, it's a unique case. We're speaking that the owners just dropped off their animals with the shepherd's herd without him even knowing. He didn't notice. He wasn't there. He wasn't present when they delivered the animals. In this case, he's not responsible. So we have two cases now, Mishnah. This is the second part of the Mishnah. Ruvain deposited $100, Shimon $200. Comes time to pick up the deposit. Each one's claiming $200. So the Chacham say, look, give him $100, give him $100. The other one, the rest, put aside. Rabbi Yossi says no. You want to effect closure, just put the whole money aside until the crook comes around and at least picks up his amount, and then you know who's the right. Now we have another similar case with items, a kli, right? He gave you a small kli, he gave you a big kli, you're not sure who gave what. Chacham say once again, you give him the small one, you give the other one a part of the big one, right, equal to the value of the small one, and the rest you leave for Yonavi. And Rabbi says, no, that's not a way to go. Leave the whole thing for Yonavi. Why does the Mishnah have to go through both cases, which are pretty much one and the same idea? But both have a chiddush. If we only discuss the first case involving money, I would say by he. In that case, Kam Rabbanan maintain that this is the way to go. We shouldn't look up Seder because you're not really harming or damaging anything. 100 for you, and the rest goes to Yonavi. But in the case of the Kli, where you have to break apart the Kli and cause damage, the Ikab Seder, the Gadol, you're harming the big Kli. Amos, or perhaps over here, Moidu Rabbi Yossi, they'll beat Rabbi Yossi, don't tamper, leave it alone. No, that's what the Mishnah says. You should know, Rabbanan maintain their opinion even by the Kalim. On the other hand, if we only discuss the case of the Kalim, I would say Baha come Rabbi Yossi. Perhaps Rabbi Yossi only maintains his opinion by the Kalim, so we don't break the Kli. But in terms of money, no problem. Ema Moidul Rabban, perhaps Rabbi Yehuda would get to Rabbanon, give him 100, and the rest fill yon up. Tzricha, that's why the Mishnah troubles itself and goes through both cases. No, whether it's money or kalim, we have the same machlekes. Asks the Gemara, why would I even think that Rabbi Yehuda would agree with just money, that you can follow the Rabbanon's formula? Give him 100, and the rest leave on the side. That wouldn't really conform to Rabbi Yehuda's concern. Time of Rabbi Yehuda was concerned about trying to pressure the crook. Mishum hefsed ramayu. So whether it's kalim, whether it's a question of money, it doesn't matter. The point is, put the money aside until further notice. So how could you say that the reason why the Mishnah mentioned the case of the money is to highlight Rabbi Yehuda's shita? I would think he agreed with Rabbanon. Why would he agree with Rabbanon? He's trying to address a whole different thing. He's trying to accomplish an entirely different thing here. In which case, whether it's money or kalim, it's all one and the same. Ella, you're right. Tarvayil Rabbanon Istrich. The point of the Mishnah mentioning both cases is to highlight the Rabbanon shita. Sometimes the Mishnah does that. It's sort of a build-up. You're right. If it would speak about kalim that are meant to be broken up, you wouldn't have to speak about money being distributed. It's pretty obvious. The Mishnah built itself up. First, money is meant to be dealt with this way. Not only money, which is a more, a simple type of case, which doesn't involve breaking and damaging, and even kalim, which involves breaking a kli, still the Rabbanan maintain this is the proper way to go. Give him so much, give him so much, and the rest pending further notice. Okay, let's go back. We have Rabbi Yehuda, who says don't make money off the other person's distress. Question is whether, in the case of Isha Mechinim who paid and wants the kefil, does Rabbi Yehuda agree or not agree? That was a machlekes on that. We discussed a fellow who was not sure who he owes money to, so if he's coming Lassi de Shemaim, pay it off. Otherwise, we have a machlekes how to deal with it. And we went back and explained the Mishnah and why we needed two cases. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rab.